You are a father and you have sons. 4 reasons why I teach my sons to date non-exclusively from the ages of at least 14 to 28. And it's number 1, because our young people, especially men, must and need to chase God first and foremost. Number 2, life is all about leveling up and chasing the purpose of which we were called to. And then number 3, what it means to teach our sons to date non-exclusively from 14 to 28 is because it's all predicated with the concept of teaching them how to find a wife. And then last but not least, what we're going to talk about is why this must be done in this order only. The 3 most important decisions any of our children, male or female, are going to make is number 1, what God will they serve? Who will they become? And who will they marry? And so when you talk about this concept of exclusive dating for our young adults in their teens and 20s, it's highly unwise. And I'm going to start with why that's unwise. And then we're going to pack on really the reason for which we as parents, especially us as fathers, must have this mindset, because it's rooted on facts. And it's this. Did you know that from the age of 14 to 22, the average female is hit on about 21,000 times? Yep, from 14 to 22, the average young lady is hit on 21,000 times. For our young men, the opposite couldn't be more true. And it's this. For the average young male, ages 14 to 22, is only hit on 6 times. Yep, absolutely. So what that means is why do I teach my sons to date non-exclusively from 14 to 28 at minimum? Is because they don't have the reps. They don't even know that they don't know. And that's half of success in life. It's not just knowing what to do, but also knowing what not to do. And so what it means is, son, you're playing a game that you don't even understand. Like, you're not even qualified to really operate on an effective level, which means you got to play the game different. Number 2, men fall in love, data proves, twice harder than a woman does. Why do you think, fellas, that the average woman you've dealt with, even in a long-term relationship, has already moved on within 30 to 60 days is what the data says? But the average heartbroken male doesn't move on for 6 months up to 2 years. So what it shows you is that men genuinely love to love, interestingly enough. And yet the reality about how young ladies move about dating really has very little to do with love, interestingly or not. It's about survival. It's about provision. So again, see, fellas, we've been playing with the wrong set of rules, right? While you out here playing checkers, everybody else out here playing chess. So that's a no and a never, which is no. Once you understand the game, Shaun, you should ask, how do you understand the game? Because I've done it the wrong way. How do you understand it now? Because I've done it the right way. And I can promise you the right way is a lot better. So understanding this concept about why we must teach our teens, specifically males from 14 to 28, is because they don't even know that they don't know. The game is already rigged for their failure, and that's to no one's benefit. The data also tells us that in the last year, about 66% of adult women have slept with someone in the last year. On the flip side, the data tells us that only 33% of adult males have slept with someone in the last year. So what the data would suggest is that the average woman is sharing a man. Like, how do you know that? Because if 1/3 of men, but yet 2/3 of women, again, that means the average woman is sharing a man, meaning 2 women for every man. And so, yet again, why do I teach my sons from 14 to 28 to date non-exclusively? And I'm going to get into the rules of the game as to what I've told them specifically about how to manage that with truth and transparency. It's because, yet again, the rules of the game of what we think it is not how the game is being played. And that's a no and never for me and mine. Meaning, nah, we're going to play this game accordingly when we understand how the game is played. And so I'm going to talk about the rules that I've been very explicit with my sons about as it relates to non-exclusive dating. And it's this. From the jump, you tell every young lady that you're interested in that, hey, look, I don't date exclusively. I'm interested in getting to know you. I'm chasing God. I'm chasing my purpose. And finding a wife is something that I'm not going to pursue to my late 20s, early 30s, because that's really the only time that a young man is truly ready. The data actually says that a man is not ready for marriage until at least 30. So therefore, for me and mine, from 14 to 28, that's not even a priority. That ain't even what we're looking for. Why? Because they need the reps. They need to understand through non-exclusive dating, wherein that is communicated overtly and upfront, because now she is able to make an empowered decision of if she's with it or not. Does it mean I am encouraging my sons to sleep around? No, not at all. If that's what you think you're hearing, that's not what I'm saying. Because to be involved with a woman doesn't necessarily mean you need to be sleeping with her, nor should you. Because what I am for my sons is, if you can't see that woman being a mother to your children, don't ever do that. Number two, your manhood is not defined by how many women you can sleep with. That's what a child does. That's not what we grown men do. Not when you understand principles like soul ties. Not when you understand that chasing the box instead of chasing the bag and your purpose is what? Very distracting. It's very expensive. So what that basically means with non-exclusive dating is that is communicated up front. The young lady is either with it or she's not with it. But yet, what are my sons doing? Their goal is to let the cream rise to the top, as they should. Whereas women's dating strategy is done covertly, a man's dating strategy must be done overtly, meaning upfront and honest, straight up from the jump. So she know what it is and what it ain't. She either with it or she ain't. That's okay. But you give that young lady the power of choice, because to do it covertly or in a dishonest, non-disclosed way is not a man of integrity or character. And I'm not raising sons like that. I am raising sons, though, understanding that my job is to teach them who is God, who were they created to be, and then how to find a wife. And what does that mean for a 14 to 28-year-old? Is that you're pursuing God and your purpose. And now women, on a non-exclusive basis, you're getting in reps. You're dating overtly, whereas a woman does it covertly. How does a woman do it covertly, you say? With male friends and exes. Why do you think they're around? For free attention, for free validation, as an insurance policy. Sons, we ain't doing that. Nah. Because we don't have to, which is, no, this is my truth. You're either with it or you're not. That's okay. Why? Because guess what? As I've explained to them and as I've shown them firsthand, that when you chase God, first and foremost, forever and always, and your purpose, guess what? The box and women going to follow. Why? Because I understand how this thing works. As I explained in previous episodes, she's looking to be led, loved, and elevated. How are you going to love, lead, and elevate when you don't know who God is, which means you're not holding yourself accountable, and you don't know who you called to be? It means you're not even qualified to love, lead, and elevate a woman. Until you master self first, until you understand who you are, until you understand whose you are. You're not ready to date on an exclusive manner, nor should you try to, because you haven't developed the competency, the capability, the confidence, the know-how, the technical expertise to even love, lead, or elevate a woman. Until you do that for yourself, you're not even qualified to expect to deserve the best woman, which is why I don't teach my sons to date exclusively. So ultimately, what I've shared with you is, why don't I teach my sons to date exclusively? Because their primary focus has to be God and purpose, women third. And what that means is understand that our young men are playing checkers, whereas others are playing chess. Why? Because the data proves from 14 to 22, the average young lady has been hit on 21,000 times. From 14 to 22, the average young male only been hit on 6 times. So he not even capable or qualified to even stand in the ring, because he gonna get circles ran around him, which is what the data proves in that regard as well. Why? Because men fall in love 2 times harder than women. How do we know that? The average woman moves on in 30 to 60 days. Average man takes anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to move on. And we also know what? Data shows that 66% or 2/3 of women in the last year, adult women, have slept with someone. Whereas the average male, roughly 33% or 1 out of 3, only are active within the last year. Which means what? The average 2 women are sharing 1 man. Yeah, because the way that this works, right, is roughly 100% of women are only interested in 5% of men. And guess who magically are the 5%? The ones who chasing God, chasing their purpose, or thrive or operate at an elite level at something. Now, you got the other, womanizer type playboys. But guess what? They can't never keep a woman. Why? Because a woman figures out once she's in his universe that he ain't really about nothing, that he can't love, lead, and elevate her other than elevating his body count. And so what? Attraction is like candy. It wears off. And now the real, which is why those men get used and thrown away. They think they winning, but they forever losing. And that's by evidence if you look at the totality of their life more often than not. We ain't talking about those type of people because it ain't even relevant right now. So, men, parents, as it pertains to your young men from 14 to 28, we chasing God. We chasing purpose. Because why? Number 3, our job as parents is to teach them how to find a wife. And unless you understand the mindset, the mentality, the nature of women, which you're already at a disadvantage of, then it would be wise that by overtly communicating that you don't date exclusively is for the benefit of becoming who you are and letting the cream rise to the top so that you understand what a godly, gorgeous, gracious woman looks like. And for our young men, they're way, way behind from the onset because they ain't had enough at-bats, which is why it's wise for us to direct them and lead them as men. Because as I share all the time, fellas, men are the solution and or problem to every social ill that exists in the world. And so it's time for us to rise up as men, to love, lead, and elevate. That starts with love, leading, and elevating ourselves. What? By chasing God and our purpose. Love, leading, and elevating our women. And love, leading, and elevating our children. Because that's what a grown man does when he exists to leave an inheritance for his children's children. When the good book says that, good sir, money is just one of 58 blessings. What I'm really supposed to be teaching my children is diligence, integrity, character, honor, delayed gratification, principle, diligence, work ethic in all things, in all ways, on all days, because that's what we doing around here. So as the founder of Developer Nation app, I want to invite you, if you are called to do real estate on a small or large scale basis, we want to educate and equip you and immerse you with the opportunity where, assuming your project is viable and feasible, we will partner with you in order to give you an opportunity to pitch your project to our various capital partners, ranging from family office, high net worth individuals, private equity, hedge fund, so that you too can develop generational wealth for your children's children, which is best done through group economics in the community that is DeveloperNationApp.com. Click on the link as you see here. It is in the description as well. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. Whatever comments you leave, I will personally respond to at some point because I am here to build people, which is the Builder of People podcast. But remember, as always, all things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. I will see you in the next episode.